A 1,500-year-old legend. Truth or myth? A vast lake stretching nearly 40 kilometers. What kind of unknown creatures might be living within it? With over 1,100 reported sightings of mysterious beings, how many of them are actually credible? Hello everyone, welcome to the World in 10 Minutes series. Today, let's talk about the Loch Ness Monster. Years ago, I watched a movie that deeply moved me, The Water Horse, Legend of the Deep. This film tells the touching story of a boy and a mysterious creature. And the inspiration behind this creature? The world-famous Loch Ness Monster. The Loch Ness Monster is arguably one of the most well-known cryptids globally. Its legend dates back to as early as the 7th century AD, over 1,500 years ago, when stories about a mysterious creature lurking in Loch Ness first emerged in Britain. The monster was described as an enormous being that would often appear to devour livestock and even humans. Some claimed it had a long, slender neck and a rounded head. When it surfaced, it was often accompanied by large waves and bubbles, and some reports even mentioned it exhaling white smoke from its mouth, almost mythical in nature. But of course, these were just legends. Now, this photograph, one that nearly everyone has seen, propelled the Loch Ness Monster into worldwide fame. Taken on April 21, 1934, it was captured by Colonel Robert Wilson, a London-based gynecologist, alongside Daily Mail journalist Wheatrell and 3 others while they were passing by Loch Ness. The image appears to show the silhouette of a creature rising from the water. While its facial features remain indistinct, its long neck and raised head eerily resembled the descriptions passed down through folklore. Some biologists pointed out that the creature in the photo bears a striking resemblance to a long-extinct dinosaur. The photograph was an absolute sensation upon its release, with media outlets across the globe rushing to cover the story. And just like that, the legend of the Loch Ness Monster became a worldwide phenomenon. However, this wasn't the first recorded sighting. A year earlier, in April 1933, a woman named Aldi Mackay from a nearby village reported seeing a massive, whale-like creature surfacing in the lake. She described its back as smooth and gray, giving the impression of a gigantic, unfamiliar creature. Her account was incredibly detailed, likely because the weather that day was particularly clear, allowing her to observe the beast's shape and outline with great clarity. According to her estimation, just the portion of the creature that emerged from the water was about 6 to 7 meters long, undoubtedly a colossal, never-before-seen entity. Yet, there was one perplexing issue. Loch Ness is a freshwater lake. If the creature truly resembled a whale, it would be highly unusual, as whales are marine animals that cannot survive in freshwater environments. At this point, it's essential to understand the unique features of Loch Ness. Unlike conventional lakes, Loch Ness is long and narrow, stretching nearly 40 kilometers in length, but only about 3 kilometers in width. However, its depth is remarkable, averaging around 200 meters, with the deepest point reaching approximately 230 meters. The lake's waters are murky due to an abundance of peat, reducing visibility significantly. The lake bed is even more obscure, filled with thick silt and countless complex underwater caves. Given these conditions, the full extent of life within the lake remains largely unknown. Could the massive creature Aldi Mackay saw be one of the many unidentified species lurking beneath the surface? Just 6 months after her sighting, another report emerged. A man wrote a letter to a London newspaper claiming that in July, while hiking in the hills near Loch Ness with his wife, he had spotted a dinosaur-like creature, not in the water, but on land. Surprisingly, this sighting didn't happen in the water. Among the thousands of reported sightings, this is the only one where the creature was seen on land. If the man who reported it wasn't playing a prank and was telling the truth, then this case becomes even more mysterious. Could it mean that the Loch Ness Monster is amphibious, capable of living both in water and on land? Or does it suggest that the ecosystem around Loch Ness is as bizarre as an alien world, harboring a multitude of undiscovered creatures? 2 months later, on November 12th, a Scottish photographer named Hugh Gray captured a historic image, the very first recorded photograph of the Loch Ness Monster. The image was so significant that it made the front page of the Daily Record in Scotland with the headline, Photo of the mysterious Loch Ness monster. Some skeptics might scoff at this. This photo is so blurry, you can't make out anything. How did it even make the news? But let's consider the era. Back then, photography technology was still quite primitive. Combined with the rush and excitement of capturing a sudden moment, it's no surprise that the image lacks clarity. Speaking of which, isn't it strange how photos of mysterious creatures, whether it's the Loch Ness monster or UFOs, are always blurry? The moment a photo is too clear, people assume it must be fake. Even today, new sightings, photographs, and videos of the Loch Ness monster continue to emerge. Yet, much like Hugh Gray's photograph, none have provided a truly definitive image. Initially, people fully believed in the famous 1934 photograph. Photography had been invented in 1839, but cameras weren't widely accessible to the general public until around the year 2000. So back in 1934, capturing a photograph was a rare and significant event, let alone the idea of manipulating an image. At the time, people thought simply, if it's in a photograph, then it must be real. As more photos of the Loch Ness monster surfaced, curiosity grew. Enthusiasts wanted to uncover the truth about whether the monster actually existed. In response, an expedition group was formed in 1934. A team of 20 adventurers set up camp near the locations where previous photos had been taken. Their mission? To observe the lake around the clock. However, after more than half a month of constant watch, they found nothing. After 1934, reports of sightings increased and numerous investigations followed. The Loch Ness monster, much like UFOs, became one of the world's greatest unsolved mysteries. Yet, despite the growing number of reported encounters, none matched the impact of the 1934 photograph taken by Robert Wilson. Many enthusiasts analyzed this image and concluded that the Loch Ness monster was likely a plesiosaur, a prehistoric marine reptile. The idea wasn't entirely unfounded. The plesiosaur was a real dinosaur species that once roamed the Earth's waters. Its most distinctive features were its extremely long neck, lack of legs, and 4 massive flippers. But if the Loch Ness monster is indeed a plesiosaur, then how do we explain the land sighting? That raises another question. Who says a plesiosaur couldn't walk on land? As time went on, doubts about the 1934 photograph began to surface. Some started noticing that the monster in the image appeared too small. By analyzing the ripples around it for scale, experts estimated that the creature was only a few dozen centimeters long. Could something so small really be called a monster? Then, in 1994, an elderly man named Christian Sperling, aged 90, stepped forward with a shocking confession. He revealed that he was the stepson of Whitehall, one of the 5 men involved in capturing the famous 1934 photograph. Sperling, realizing his time was running out, decided to disclose the truth before he passed away. According to him, the Loch Ness monster in the photograph was nothing more than a hoax. He explained that they used a toy submarine as the base, attaching a wooden model of a sea serpent's head and neck to create the illusion of a mysterious creature. This revelation stunned the world. The photograph that had captivated millions for decades was a fabrication. However, despite the exposure of the hoax, many still believe in the Loch Ness monster. Some argue, just because one photo is fake doesn't mean the creature doesn't exist. Even today, new sightings occur every month, though most are questionable. So, does the Loch Ness monster truly exist? Scientific analyses have been conducted over the years, but the conclusion remains the same. The likelihood of its existence is very, very low. To determine whether the Loch Ness monster is real, let's analyze the issue from 3 key perspectives. 1. Food supply. Loch Ness is a cold water lake with temperatures at 12 degrees Celsius within the first 30 meters of depth and dropping to around 5 degrees Celsius below that. Such low temperatures slow down the growth rate of fish, meaning that the lake's fish population is both small and limited. Now, let's consider this. If there really were a 10-meter-long monster living in the lake, would it have enough food to survive? Scientists have estimated that the total fish population in Loch Ness could only sustain one large predator. If there were two, the food supply would be insufficient. However, if there were only one, how has it survived and continued to be seen for over 1,500 years? A species needs reproduction to persist. Has the Loch Ness monster been reproducing asexually for centuries? Unless it is a hermaphrodite that can self-replicate, its continuous existence seems highly unlikely. Second, DNA sampling. In 2019, a team of international DNA experts conducted extensive sampling of Loch Ness. Using advanced environmental DNA eDNA technology, they collected water samples from various depths and analyzed the biological traces present in them. After a year-long meticulous study, scientists ruled out the presence of plesiosaurs or any other prehistoric large creatures in the lake. However, they made a significant discovery: a massive amount of eel DNA. This led experts to a new theory. The Loch Ness monster might actually be a giant eel. Historical reports suggest that Loch Ness eels can grow up to 4 meters long. A creature of this size swimming through the lake's murky waters could easily be mistaken for a monster. 3. The business of the Loch Ness monster. The legend of the Loch Ness monster has greatly benefited the local tourism industry. Every year, over 1 million tourists visit the area, generating an estimated $33 million in revenue. Surveys show that 85% of visitors come to Loch Ness specifically hoping to see the monster. So, regardless of whether it truly exists, the Loch Ness monster has become a powerful marketing symbol, attracting tourists from around the world. Some skeptics believe that the entire legend is a carefully crafted hoax, a staged spectacle designed to boost the local economy. Despite these logical explanations, hardcore believers remain unconvinced. They argue that evidence suggests the Loch Ness monster might have existed, or still does. 1. Ancient carvings and legends. The Picts, an ancient Scottish tribe, carved mysterious water creatures into stone. Some believe these carvings depict the Loch Ness monster. Additionally, in 565 AD, Saint Columba, an Irish monk, reportedly encountered a strange water beast in the River Ness, which flows from Loch Ness. If these records are genuine, they suggest that a mysterious creature existed long before modern reports emerged. 2. Government investigations. In 1962, the British government established the Loch Ness Investigation Bureau, similar to classified research agencies like Area 51. Its sole purpose was to find evidence of an unidentified large creature in Loch Ness. Although the Bureau was shut down in 1977 after failing to make significant discoveries, the mere fact that the government invested in such a search suggests that authorities once took the monster's existence seriously. 3. A hidden passage to the sea? Some scientists speculate that Loch Ness may have an underwater connection to the ocean. If true, a marine species might have evolved to survive in both saltwater and freshwater, periodically migrating between the two.